Early voting now underway in New York City's mayoral race, capturing the attention of the White House and the nation. Frontrunner Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani up against independent candidate, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, as well as Republican mayoral candidate Curtis Sliwa. The election comes amid concerns about the rise in anti-Semitism. A recent Washington Post poll finds 95% of Jewish Americans think there is a lot or some anti-Semitism in the U.S. today. ABC News political director Averi Harper has more.
You were leading the state for
Governor
10 years,
Hochul.
screwing the city.
No.
You cut homelessness
as a legislator.
Zohran Mamdani could be on the cusp of becoming the first Muslim mayor of New York City, and he continues to defend his stance on Israel.
The assemblyman still won't say he believes that Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish state.
I've said time and again that I recognize Israel's right to exist.
The Democrat is one of three candidates, including Republican Curtis Sliwa and former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's running as an independent.
You are going to see a Jewish turnout on Election Day like you have never seen before.
Cuomo is leading among Jewish New Yorkers, with 40% saying his views on the Israel-Hamas conflict are the closest to theirs. During the Jewish holiday of Sukkot, Mamdani was met with protesters outside of a Brooklyn synagogue.
We're really upset about Mamdani normalizing anti-Zionism, which we believe is a form of hatred.
Of course, I condemn Hamas. Of course, I've called October 7th what it was, which is a horrific war crime. And of course, my belief in a universality in international law is also the same set of beliefs that have led me to describe what's happening in Gaza as a genocide.
Mamdani is leading citywide polls. He says he wants to increase funding to prevent hate crimes against Jews and maintains his criticism of Israel and its treatment of Palestinians in Gaza. It's that debate over Israel and Jewish identity that is dividing voters.
Does he bring a different view on the government of Israel at this moment? Yes, but it's not different than mine.
The November 4th election comes at a major inflection point for New York City's large and powerful Jewish voting bloc.
All Jews are kind of responsible for each other, mixed up with each other. Is that still true? I don't know how it's going to feel.
In Washington, Averi Harper, ABC News.
Averi Harper, thank you. For more, I want to bring in Hannah Fierick. She reports on City Hall for the New York Post. Hannah, from what we just saw in Averi's reporting, what are you hearing from voters about the race and Israel?
Yeah, as far as voters go, this has been a really key issue among Jewish voters as well as Muslim voters in New York City. We've seen the idea of anti-Semitism really being a cornerstone in this election. And Andrew Cuomo has kind of come forward as the candidate who is going to put a stop to that. And Jewish New Yorkers specifically haven't really loved the messaging that Zohran Mamdani has been sharing around the issue. He did recently flip the script on that, though, on Friday. His campaign has been riddled with these, idea that he has made anti-Semitic comments. He's flipped the script and said, actually, this is Islamophobia. And he very clearly came out against Andrew Cuomo and Eric Adams and Curtis Sliwa on Friday morning, sharing that was, the rhetoric they've been using is actually, Islamophobic. And so that's kind of another issue that's been underscoring the election as we move into early voting.
And Hannah, the Harvard Institute of Politics recently held a focus group with Gen Z voters in New York City. They were asked about establishment Democrats not backing Mamdani after he won the mayoral primary. Listen to how they responded.
I think, to me, they just sold me. I feel like I've been lied to, and corporate interests and the interest of the 1% are trumping, no pun intended, the interest of everybody else. Ideally, it would be a framework, particularly for the Democratic Party to look at, to realize, we can actually promote a vision instead of just our whole platform being Trump sucks.
It's upsetting and shameful. A lot of Democrats are vote blue no matter who, except for Zohran, and it's but then on the other side, they would never do that. Even if they disagree with Trump, they'll still stick beside him.
So you heard the sound there. Also, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries waited until Friday to endorse Mamdani. Do you think the sort of lukewarm support of establishment Democrats helps or hurts Mamdani's campaign in these final days?
Andrew, I think it helps at the end of the day, but it definitely is telling that Minority Leader Jeffries has waited this long to endorse the candidate. Even Governor Hochul, came out not super long after the primary to put her weight behind him. But the numbers we're seeing in early voting is very indicative of people being energized to go out and vote. The numbers are almost 5 times what they were in 2021. We've seen about 80,000 New Yorkers come out just in these first 2 days of early voting, which is certainly, notable. And Mamdani does have a very passionate base, and that's not necessarily something we've seen from Cuomo. A lot of his voters are kind of going for him as sort of the option that they think will best fit because they oppose Mamdani's views, not necessarily because they're passionate about Andrew Cuomo's views. It's looking good for Mamdani as far as numbers in early voting as well.
It's a mayoral race that the nation is watching. Hannah Fierick, thank you for your time.